The moment you open your mouth to explain yourself, you have already lost. You've been told that honesty is the best policy, and that the truth will set you free. This is a lie designed by the mediocre to keep the dangerous in check. In the brutal reality of power dynamics, the truth doesn't set you free. It provides the rope for your own execution. You are being watched, measured, and weighed every time you speak, and by being authentic, you are simply painting a target on your own back. You think you are building trust, but you are actually providing a blueprint of your insecurities, your triggers, and your boundaries to people who will eventually use them as leverage. Look at your life. Every time you were betrayed, every time you were overlooked, every time someone got in your head, it was because you gave them the keys. You handed them the weapon, showed them the gap in your armor, and then wondered why you were bleeding. You have spent your life operating under the delusion that transparency is a sign of strength. You think that if people really knew you, they would respect you. But the primitive brain of everyone around you, your boss, your rivals, even your friends, doesn't work that way. Human biology is wired for hierarchy and resource acquisition. When you offer up your internal world without a filter, the subconscious mind of the observer doesn't see virtue. It sees a lack of impulse control. It sees someone who cannot contain their own energy. This is why you fail to command respect in meetings, why your partners stop finding you mysterious and start finding you predictable, and why your enemies always seem to stay 3 steps ahead. You know the feeling of a vulnerability hangover, that sinking realization the morning after you shared too much, realizing you've lost the high ground. This happens because your instinct to be liked is overriding your instinct to be sovereign. You've been conditioned since childhood to be a good boy or a good girl, which is code for being a predictable, manageable asset for others. By being honest, you are making yourself easy to manage. You think you're being deep, but you're just being transparent. And in a world of predators, transparency is the same thing as being lunch. Look around you. The people who hold the most power are the ones you know the least about. Their silence isn't an accident. It's a fortress. Niccolo Machiavelli was not a villain. He was a realist in a world of delusional optimists. He understood that the gap between how people should live and how they actually live is so wide that anyone who neglects what is done for what ought to be done will affect his ruin, rather than his preservation. We are going to dissect 9 laws of strategic information control that will transform you from an open book into a locked vault. This is not self-help. This is self-conquest. Be warned, this knowledge is irreversible. Once you see the strings of information warfare, you can never go back to being a puppet who blathers about their feelings to anyone who will listen. If you are not ready to kill the part of you that craves the cheap validation of being understood, leave now. For the rest of you, welcome to the desert of the real. Law 1. The Law of Strategic Ambiguity. The most primitive desire of the human ego is autonomy, and the greatest threat to that autonomy is being perceived clearly. The moment someone understands your motives, they can predict your moves. Prediction leads to control. Machiavelli knew that a leader must always keep the minds of his subjects in a state of suspense and admiration. In practice, this means you must never let your right hand know what your left hand is doing. When you are asked about your plans, your response should be a canvas upon which others project their own fears and desires. Do not say, "I am planning to quit and start a business." Say, "I am currently evaluating several high-leverage opportunities that align with my long-term trajectory." The first statement makes you a target for sabotage. The second makes you an enigma to be respected. Your brain interprets clarity as safety, but in power dynamics, Clarity is a gift you give your enemy. By remaining ambiguous, you force others to spend their mental energy trying to decode you, effectively putting them in a defensive posture while you remain on the offensive. Law 2. The Fallacy of Vulnerability. Modern psychology has sold you a lethal lie, that vulnerability is leadership. This is a tactic used by those at the top to keep those at the bottom from ever rising. When a king shows vulnerability, it is a calculated performance to gain empathy. When a commoner shows it, it is a confession of weakness. This is because your neurological hardware interprets vulnerability as a lack of resources. The reason this works is simple. Humans are attracted to strength and repelled by fragility. Machiavelli wrote that it is much safer to be feared than loved, because love is held by a thin wire of obligation that people will break the moment it suits them. If you reveal your fears, you are providing a menu of ways to manipulate you. Imagine you are in a high-stakes negotiation. The moment you honestly admit you need this deal to pay your mortgage, you have handed the other side a surgical knife. Instead, you must practice the art of the stone face. Your internal state is your private sanctuary. If you let others in, do not be surprised when they start rearranging the furniture. Law 3. The Mirror of Expected Truth. Most people are not looking for the truth. They are looking for a confirmation of their own biases. The Machiavellian practitioner uses this to their advantage by providing a truth that satisfies the observer while keeping the reality hidden. This is the art of appearing to be an open book while being a redacted manuscript. Machiavelli observed that everyone sees what you appear to be, but few experience what you really are. This means you should offer up small, inconsequential truths to build a reputation for honesty. By being brutally honest about things that don't matter, like your dislike for a certain restaurant or a minor mistake you made, you create a smokescreen for the things that do. Picture this. A colleague asks what you think of the new project. Instead of revealing your strategic disapproval, you offer a vivid, passionate critique of a minor technical detail. They walk away thinking you are so honest and transparent, while your true strategic intent remains completely untouched. You have used their own desire for honesty to blind them. Law 4. Information asymmetry as a fortress. In every interaction, the person with the most information has the most power. When you are honest, you are voluntarily engaging in a wealth transfer where you give away your primary asset for nothing in return. The reason this works at an evolutionary level is that information equals survival. He who knows the location of the waterhole rules the tribe. Machiavelli understood that a prince must be a fox to recognize traps. To be a fox, you must listen twice as much as you speak. Every time you remain silent and let the other person fill the space with their honesty, you are collecting ammunition. Here's how this works in real life. In any conversation, wait 3 seconds after you think the other person has finished speaking. Most people cannot handle the silence and will offer up a bonus truth just to ease the tension. They will reveal their true opinion of the boss, their financial troubles, or their hidden resentments. While they are bleeding information, you are building a fortress. The paradox is that the less you say, the more people think you know. Law 5. The Law of the Controlled Reveal. Total secrecy creates suspicion. Controlled reveals create intimacy. The master of power knows how to use fake vulnerability to disarm an opponent. This is a surgical application of honesty used to make the other person feel they have won your trust. Machiavelli knew that people are so simple-minded and so dominated by their present needs that a deceiver will always find someone who will let himself be deceived. You do this by sharing a secret that sounds significant but carries no tactical weight. Imagine you are trying to build an alliance with a rival. You might tell them in a moment of confidence about a personal struggle you had in the past. Your brain interprets this as a bond-building exercise, and your rival feels they now have dirt on you. In reality, you have given them a weapon that is already broken, while they, in an attempt to reciprocate your honesty, will likely hand you a loaded gun. But here's the catch. The reveal must feel visceral. It must feel like it cost you something to say, even if it cost you nothing at all. Law 6. The burden of explanation. The moment you feel the need to explain yourself, you have accepted that the other person is your judge. Explanation is a submissive behavior. It is an attempt to seek permission for your existence or your actions. Machiavelli advised that a prince should never lack legitimate reasons to color over his failure to keep his word. But notice he said reasons, not explanations. Reasons are for you. Explanations are for them. When you are honest about why you did something, you are giving the other person the data they need to cross-examine you. This is because your brain is wired to find social harmony. But in the realm of power, harmony is often a mask for subjugation. Here is the tactical shift. When questioned about a decision, give a short, factual statement and then stop. If they ask, "Why did you do that?" the Machiavellian response is a calm, "Because it was the most effective path forward," followed by silence. By refusing to explain, you maintain your status as an actor, not a subject. You are the architect. They are merely the observers of the building. Law 7. The shadow persona. Your true self is a liability in public life. To be successful, you must construct a persona, a mask that interacts with the world so your true self can remain safe and uncompromised. This is the integration of Carl Jung's concept of the persona with Machiavellian strategy. Machiavelli knew that the common people are always taken by appearances. Your honesty should be reserved for the one or two people in your life who have proven their loyalty through fire, and even then, it should be metered. For everyone else, you present the version of yourself that is most tactically advantageous. In practice, this means having a work persona that is efficient and slightly detached, a social persona that is charming but vague, and a conflict persona that is immovable. This isn't being fake, it's being surgical. You are protecting your soul from the pollution of the marketplace. The world doesn't deserve your honesty, it deserves your performance. Law 8. The silence of the lion. Silence is the ultimate weapon of the powerful because it cannot be misquoted and it cannot be used against you. Every word you speak is a hostage you have released into the world. You no longer have control over what happens to it. Machiavelli observed that men are so changeful that the only way to deal with them is to remain unpredictable. Your silence creates a vacuum that others will desperately try to fill with their own insecurities. This works at a neurological level because the human brain hates a lack of closure. When you don't offer an honest opinion or a clear reaction, people will assume you know more than you do. Picture a situation where someone is trying to insult you. The weak response is an honest defense. "That's not true. I'm actually very hardworking." The Machiavellian response? Total silence and a slight, knowing smile. By saying nothing, you make their attack look small and reveal their desperation for your reaction. You have won, without firing a single shot. Law 9. The law of irreversible exposure. You must understand that honesty is a one-way street. Once you have revealed a truth, you can never take it back. You can never untell a secret. You can never unshow a weakness. Machiavelli understood that people are ungrateful, fickle, pretenders, and dissemblers. They will be friends with you while you are useful, but the moment things turn, your honesty from 3 years ago will become the evidence they use to destroy you today. This is the paradox of time. Your current honest feeling is temporary, but the information you give away is permanent. Here's the catch. The person you are being honest with today may be your enemy tomorrow. Protect your future self by keeping your mouth shut today. Treat your information like a high-value currency. Don't spend it on people who only have pennies to offer in return. The ultimate reverse psychology is on yourself. Convince yourself that your silence is your greatest strength, and you will find that the world begins to bend to your will. You're listening to this thinking about how to use these laws on your boss or your ex. But you're missing the point. The reason you have been too honest in the past isn't because you're a good person. It's because you were afraid. The need to be transparent comes from a desperate need for external validation. A hope that if people see the real you, they will finally tell you that you are enough. Techniques are useless if your soul is fragile. You can only wield these laws if you don't need the other person's approval. This requires what Carl Jung called integrating the shadow. Jung said, "I would rather be whole than good." A harmless man is not a good man. A harmless man is just a rabbit. A truly virtuous person is a monster who has their darkness under total surgical control. You must integrate the part of you that is capable of deception, the part of you that is capable of silence, and the part of you that is capable of standing alone. The ultimate reverse psychology is on yourself. You must stop being a victim of your own niceness. The world will try to pull you back into the herd with labels like cold or manipulative. These are just words the sheep use to describe the wolf. Sovereignty has a price, and that price is the comfort of being understood by everyone. Imagine a version of you 6 months from now. You move through the world with a quiet, lethal confidence. When people speak to you, they find themselves revealing their secrets while you remain an unreadable fortress. You no longer feel the frantic urge to explain your decisions or justify your existence. People treat you with a new, slightly fearful respect because they can no longer find the edge of your personality. The old you, an open book, easily read, easily discarded, constantly bleeding information in exchange for a pat on the head. The new you, the architect of your own mystery, a person who speaks only when it serves a strategic purpose, a sovereign individual who doesn't need to be known to be powerful. You will lose friends. Your family may not recognize the person you are becoming. There is a loneliness that comes with sovereignty, a coldness at the top of the mountain. This is the tax you pay for greatness. You have a choice. The warm, suffocating comfort of the herd, where everyone knows everything about you and no one respects you, or the freedom of the wolf. You cannot have both. If you're still here, you're part of the 0.01% who can handle the cold air of reality. Most people watched the first 2 minutes of this and went back to their authentic lives of quiet desperation. Subscribe not to support this channel, but to make a contract with yourself. By hitting that button, you are signaling to your subconscious that you are done being a puppet. We are just getting started. The rabbit hole goes much deeper than social dynamics. Don't be left outside. Join the inner circle. Start today. Find one situation in the next 24 hours where you would normally explain yourself, and instead, say nothing. Watch the discomfort in the other person's eyes. That discomfort is the feeling of your power returning to you. I'll see you in the shadows.